Crystal memory windows. The fire singing my skull, the womb of imagination floating, the dream of lungs navigating the wind, an eye of fire floating in the bone cloud of the skull, the serpent of fire circling the knowing of the skull, the sound of my skull singing the shadow of silence, the eye of infinity dreaming, the sky of sleep sleeping in my skull, this window of pregnant lungs breathing universe, the tiger of memory dancing in the void, the umbilical windows seeing the skull sailing the stars, voyaging the veins of abyss, a voice of windows diving the dream of sleeping skulls, the tiger of memory sleeping the vagina, dreaming the void of veins, voyaging the compass of the skull, lighting the sky which is ancient wisdom of seeing, visions voyaging the veins, a history of ears imaging the void, the womb of abyss singing in space, Wilson Harris's brain navigating the imagination, uniting happiness in the veins of the forest's future, the sky of dream suns singing from the trees of vision, the songs of fire singing in Wilson Harris's skull of dancing voids, of crystal imagination flight, the fire of dreams floating to the sky, of dancing eyes vibrating the womb of the universe, this constellation of skulls navigating the imaginations of the dream, the voyage of journeys, navigating the journey of vibrating dreams, an eye of wings floating to the heart fire of the cosmos, the skull pregnant with seeing, pregnant with imaginations vibrating fire, the imagination pregnant with the sun of seeing, the flute of the wind singing in the bones, a womb of dreams dancing in the skull, the future sky sleeping in the skull, the voice of the spirit singing the future, a skull pregnant with remembering, a womb of dreams dancing in the skull, in the eye of fire swimming in this void of visions, vertebrae of wings floating to the abyss, of death singing air, imaging the roots harmonized to the traveling lungs of seers sleeping in the womb of nothing. This imagination is the light of the mother, these eyes of fire lighting the future, my pen of fire songs flying the skull of Wilson Harris's spirit of infinite prayer, the whisper of lungs singing the wind, a heart of lungs sleeping in the womb of the cosmos, breathing the sun, this breast of lungs sleeping in the dream of the void, this skull of flying dreams, an eye of fire prisms the future sky, the eye of fire seeing the all, the eye of the spirit seeing all, the eye of the abyss co-creating all, the dimension of 23, the spirit of the wind, the peacock feathers singing the kaleidoscope of light, these feathers of fire foaming the face, the diamond of dreams sleeping in the prism of infinity, a tongue of whispers sleeping in the bones, a tiger of fire dreaming the cosmos, the skull of knowledge singing the fire of dreams, the distance of memory singing the diamond of dream, the distance of the voice singing shadow, the map of stars navigating the wind of my skeleton, uniting the heart to sky of forever dream, the voice of the wind singing my lungs to birth, these wings of flame orbiting the mind to flight, this tongue of sky sleeping in the wind of words, the space of memory singing the distance of death, a sky of stars lighting the panther of death, journeys of bone breathing the flute of memory, histories singing in the heart, Martin Carter's diamond of sound singing to the memory's hand of sky, sleeping in the bones of memory, these journeys of bone navigating the cosmos, these invisible roots harmonizing, this tongue of wind dances in the voice of infinity's lungs, the birth of lungs sleeping in the void of light, this womb of windows looking in the void, the compass of the skull navigating the darkness of death, this heart of fire sleeping in a dream, this dream, the light of God, sky navigating the bones of beauty, Venom singing the sky, the venom in the veins has vanished in the voyage of visions, stars swimming the skull, silence sleeping in the skull, a silence of shadows sleeping in the skull sky, a birth of lungs singing the wind to sleeping dreams, a memory of serpents sleeping the distance, north of the bones of beauty, navigating the cosmos in fire, a kaleidoscopic compass in all directions, in the stars swimming in the skull, the birth of silence singing the tongue to sleep on the wind of dream, the future lungs of mothers sleeping in the pearl's milk of memory, the larynx of fathers flaming the ancient fire of bones, my mother's womb of sky sleeping in the stars, flaming the cosmos' blossoming skull, a breast of flames nourishes the wind, my skull listening to the sailing of the void, my skull listening to the silent sailing, the dream universe of sleep, a future brotherhood, suns flying in the vertebrae of journeys, the journeys of dream dancing in the skull, an eye of lungs sleeping in the void of the dream, harmonizing the root, fires of universal breath, a window of skeletons sleeping in the womb void of infinity, this heart of fire sleeping in the void of dreams, the imagination of sunlight sleeping in the void of dream, in the womb of sky, the door of all directions sleeping in the bones opening to sky, as the door of all directions opens, seeing takes place, the door of dreams sleeps in the bones, in the eye of infinity, in the cosmic DNA of serpents of fire, flying in the belly of drums, in the belly of thunder, and imagination sings, you have received the gift of the Spirit, my brother. The final blindness is ash, the eye of dreams sleeping in my skull, dreaming the dream of dreams. Your words are the gift of the Spirit. Your words are the light of the Spirit. The eye of infinity seeing its fire, of the future navigating the bones, the serpents in the bones biting their tails to the poison of healing, the dream sleeping in the bones, mapping the dream of infinity, the eye of infinity dreaming the sky to sleep. An anus of diamonds shitting light, an anus of fire shitting dead diamonds, ashes blossoming abyss, a petal of dead ashes blossoming abyss, joy blossoming in the pregnant womb of the spirit, a breast of stars drinking the astral milk of forever, a voice of lungs breathing the wind, a dream of death sprouting the feathers of flight, a diamond of death dreaming the fire burning in my skull, lighting the map of stars, singing the umbilical universe in the throat of sky. Death spirit seeing the dream, lighting God, the light of the wind seeing the lightning of speech, floating to the pearls of sky, a heart of light floating on tongues of storm, silent in the sun, a heart of love singing the pearls of the wind, these lungs of thunder, sleeping in the mother womb of infinity's strange abyss of petals. The skull of memories, sleeping in the divine visions of the wind, and the wind learns the shape of its fire. Come, O Brathwaite's eye of fire sleeps, this heart of light singing, the dream that dreams all dreams, a breast of suns flaming the fire of creation, the cosmic milk of forgiveness, the cosmic milk of assassins sleeping with the dull razors in the bones, the cosmic milk that nourishes the skull of the void, the silence that sleeps in vibrating shadows, the silence that sleeps in infinity's diamond cave of dream, a dream of voices, a voice of suns, a voice of wings flying to the abyss, flying to the infinite pearl of sky, flying naked on the invisible wind, tongues of fire foaming the dreaming, stars of visions, the masks of death are ash, the masks are ash, light, sing from the source, the spirit, the eye of sleeping diamonds crystallizing the visions of venom and rainbow, a labyrinth of lungs breathing the universe, the chameleon of the abyss is ash, the masks are ash, the constellation of dreams circling the silence of the skull, in a shadow of song, the death of the abyss, the death of a dream diamond, a crystal of fear shattered, incinerating to nothing of nerves, the source of illusions are ash, lighting the wind to sky, co-creating the spirit with the spirit, the wind made flesh, in the flowering bone of woman, wandering like children in the dream of magic flutes. Mario, Santiago, Papasquaro, dream story of sky, the ash of sleep lighting the night fires of infinity. A tiger of fire ashes the nightmares to see, breathe the dreams to lungs, breathe the dreams to sun, the dream diamond sleeping, the tiger of fire dancing in the constellations of kaleidoscopic milk, nourished on the nerves of infinity's sweet blade of sun, the blossoming joys of infinity's vibrating, the courage of co-creation, the lung of death breathing, the distance of dream, this eye of naked sky invisible to thorns of dust, sleeping in the moon's magnetic blood of gravity, the map of mind, charting infinity's skull of diamonds, the jaguar of dream, pulsing the sleeping fires of poison and rainbow of feather and imagination, of eagle and sky. The spirit of memory floating in the voice of fires, singing the universe to birth, the lightning larynx singing the thunder of dreams, the sky sleeps in songs, the stars sleep in sky, sky navigating the bones, the universe sleeping in stones, an orbit of lungs singing, an orbit of lungs dreaming, the eye of infinity dreaming the universe, the sleep of the spirit, singing the sky lung of infinity, the sky lung of fire, foaming an eye of wind, seeds dreaming, Obalemir Gera's song of infinity, my brother of infinite listening, master of imagination seeing, the energy of the spirit, the dream fire, the birth of a voice lighting the beauty. You are co-creating your spirit with your writing. You are co-creating your spirit with the spirit. Writing is a process of co-creation with the spirit. The eye of infinity seeing the dream, seeing the all, seeing the prism, seeing the diamond of death drumming the bones, the diamonds orbiting the bones, the orbit of lungs breathing in the voice, circling the wind, the universe navigating the skull navigating the universe, an orbit of eyes, an orbit of voices listening to the void, a map becoming the compass of the skull navigating the circle, the spiral of names, the earthquake of the dark singing the ink of mystery, a tree of wings burning to flight, the roots of gravity magnetizing the flower of the soul, a perfume of thorns, petals of sun lighting the skull, the stone, the sound of stars, vibrating silence, this eye of infinity, this eye of fire, this eye of diamonds dreaming death, dreaming the light of the transition to a different level of consciousness. There is no death, just a transition to a different level of consciousness. The bird of fire floating, flying from the tree of wings, the tree of oblivion fruit, the tree of roots singing the gravity of lungs, planting seeds of the spirit, seeds dreaming, the void of vibrating visions, a tongue of fire sings, unites the universe with silence, the void of visions vibrates the skull with seeing, a ghost poem floating, singing in space, in the spirit's memory of infinity, the sea of infinity, the energy of God lighting the path of infinity, lighting the eye of the invisible, the eye of the spirit seeing in all directions simultaneously, in the memory of infinity's feathers flying, a tree of lungs, a tree of wings, the gravity of roots, a bird of fire flies from the skull of roots, a cloud sleeps, a wind develops words, a universe, a voice of birds, a voice of light, floating to light, the snake of infinity blossoming flowers from fangs of ash, the memory of love burning in my bones, lighting the heart, the dove hands floating to sky, my mother's womb birthing a universe of spirit, my mother's womb of wind lighting the future path in all directions, lighting the compass of the skull, navigating the nation to the birth of beauty, a flower of fire floating, blossoming a sun of infinity. Mother, this matrix of living milk, nourishing the stars, the medicine of the mind, mapping future harmonies of guidance and bone. Mother of the dream, launching the fire of journeys, guiding my navigations, your matrix of living milk nourishing the sky to dream, the eggs of universe blossoming a flower of fire, flying to hearts on flame in your voice, a sleeping infinity, nourished on your bones of balance and dream, your ear listening to infinity's sleep in a breast of bright beginnings, the feather of flight in focus, the tongue of flame flowering the fruit of oblivion, the seeds of silence dreaming the sleep of wind, the gravity of roots, the magnets of mystery unfolding to sun, a serpent of fire flying to the anus of the abyss, biting its own tail, drink its own poison to healing, listening to the breathing of lungs, the lungs breathing the vibrating visions of the void, a tongue of fire illuminating the belly of stories, the kiss of poison, the kiss of death flying to a cloud of the nourishing milk of rain, the flaming eye of the spirit seeing in all directions simultaneously, the orbit of diamonds, the kaleidoscope of the skull, the prism of souls, smelling the perfume of thorns, petals of wind, petals of sun, the tree of fire sprouting the fruit of invisible wings, the dancing seeds of dream, containing all the instructions for life, navigating the nerves, searching the skull of the sky, a voice of lungs, blossoming the wind, the arrow of question sleeping in the heart of the wind, the heart of blood diving, the heart of love, the heart of light singing, singing, singing the voice to a tongue of serpents, to a dream of dancing visions, the vertebrae of wisdom, a spine of suns, the throat of memory singing, a throat of sun burning with God's wind of faith, the eternal kiss of diamond fire, sleeping in our lungs of storms, our tongues of sun, a cranium of fireworks sleeping with the language of the spirit, each letter of the alphabet, a universe of sound, a word of wind, navigating the map of infinity, the bone map of beauty's infinite prism, the voice of sleep dreaming the earth, an air of sky listening to the hurricane of the heart, healing the hands in forever fire, birth blooming in the bones, the eye of the spirit singing infinity, the feather of focus drinking the air, a bird of breasts flaming the breeze with flight, the ashes singing, the ink singing, the sea singing, traveling to the mother womb of abyss winds of diamond fire, the lion larynx of the father thundering the foam, infinite sleep of sky flaming the blood with dawn's throat of sun, a mouth of sun sleeping in the skull, a birth of sky, a perfume of thorns smelling the ancient breath, navigating the nostrils of naked fires, the bush of sound, the forest of crystal ears, listening to the prism of tongues of the wind, developing words for the voyage, to a void of exploding visions, orbiting, 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 orbiting oblivion's bridge of wings, a movement of clouds navigating the map of bones, organized in subterranean unity, vibrating the abyss to hearts, the skull, a compass of light navigating the spirit, the lungs of life breathing, wailing the wind with wings, laughing fire, drinking the milk of future stars, a breast of lungs, breathing the fire of life, the kaleidoscope of dream, the university of echo shatters, the university of the spirit sings, the embryo of fire blossoms, a future sky of singing universes, the flute singing in my bones of dream. Fire, fire, burning bright in our hearts of divine light. Fire, fire burning high, up to the heavens of the sky, pushing fire in the skull sky windows of future sight. Allen Ginsberg dreaming in sky, howling in the heart, the sea's drum of death, the skull's sleeping songs, blossoming fire, swimming in the wind of tomorrow's bright dreams of remembering these petals of sun, these breasts of sun singing, the eternity of the air listening to the voice of the sea, the dreaming shadow sleeping in the abyss, the womb of the abyss, the womb of the abyss. The womb of the wind is silence, Wayne Brown navigating the cosmos of the skull, soaked in stars. The light of beauty singing in this cloud of dream pearls, this voice of lungs sleeping in the void, these eyes pregnant with seeing, the eternal womb of night's air whispering to the abyss, the bird of sleep singing in the heart, the diamond of dream drinking death, a map of lungs developing the breath of eternity, the blossom of the brain floating wild to dream, this orbit of windows singing the skull to sleep, a belly of dreams, a belly of fire, a belly of swords turning to ash in the wind, in the womb of forever, a map of stars navigating the labyrinth of lungs, this fetus of fire sleeping in the cosmos of the lungs, in the cosmos of the skull of sleeping sounds, a hand of flowers singing the perfume of its labor of living, the lung of infinity sleeping in the star of the abyss, a belly of stars flying to the void, pregnant with seeing, a map of the wind sleeping, visions vanishing in the void, a tongue of fire dreaming the sound of the skull, the bones burning petals of sun, a throat of thunder echoing to pearl, an infinity skull of doves flying to the void of blind visions, a breast of suns milking the void, thunder dancing in the long sailing space on the breath of careful whores, stars sailing the skull, journeying this compass of navigations in all directions, wind spirit of the star, guiding my navigations to dream, the prayer of protection guiding my dream. My prayer is silence before the spirit. I love you, my mother and my father. Your will is done. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. This umbilical universe, unified in the uterus of the sea, a fetus of wind singing the future, the eye of fire sleeping in the bones, the eye of fire sleeping in the skull of seeing, the sky sleeps in the bones, the sky sleeps in stones, the sky sleeps in a skull of seeing, a skull of dreams singing the void, this throat of wind singing the beauty of the blaze, the eye of fire, the eye of focus, the eye of lightning, sleeping in the window of the skull, the fire of dreams sleeping, these eyes of wind seeing visions of the fire, fly to the void, fly to the vertebrae of sun, the air of infinity, listening to a universe of stars, sing and sail the skull, my mother's womb singing the void, blossoming universes, mapping the compass of the skull, a compass of light in all directions, a bird of fire flying to the void, visions floating in its wings, a vision of the void vibrating the spine, an eye of fire sleeping in the bones, an eye of fire sleeping in the skull, an eye of fire sleeping in the invisible fruit of the universe. My Father, divine fire of love of hearts, the Spirit sings visions to sky, the fruit of universe floating to the void, this fruit of fire lighting the belly to dream, listening, 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 listening to the bones of the dream, the fire of the skull, guiding the compass of light in all directions, fly to the sun source, the Spirit of God, a fire navigating the bones to light, to the abyss of death's bright skull of imaginations, this womb of dreams harmonizing the universes, the feather of focus to the sun of flight, the divine wisdom of dream, a kaleidoscope of eyes singing the universe to sleep, the naked eye invisibly dreaming the void of visions, vibrating in the vertebrae, This whisper of tongues sleeping in the fire of seeing, the sea singing in the skull, the waves of whispers, the waves of sea floating on the tongue of fire, tongues of bone whistling the flute of the skull to sleep, the waves sleeping in the bones of subterranean roots, subterranean solitude of silence and singing, silence, the light of the spirit, a bird of fire with flowers of wind dancing in its feathers, a bird of fire dancing in the sun, the sky sleeping in stones, a window of lungs breathing the universe, floating on a dead eye of fire, and ash scattered to the wind, scattered to seeing, the sweet flames of hands, hands of sun warming my skull to sleep, the shadow of ink drinking the abyss, the ash of air scattered to the wind, the kiss of clouds, the kiss of the wind on ears of sleep, listening to the dreams blossom the earth to fire, the lungs of leaves breathing, bodies of fire, of stars, haunting the ghosts of salt, sleeping in the sea's waves of bones, the womb of diamond, fire, blossoming stars, these future skulls of sound, the birth of sun, the heart of wombs, the heart of eyes vibrating the visions, an eye of fire seeing all, the dream of the wind navigating the future of sleep, the kiss of death floating to my skull of poison, to my skull of serpents kissing death's vibrating light, a bridge of silence singing my heart to the womb of night, stars navigating the compass of the skull, a womb of stars, blossoming seed of sound, seed of song, seed of sky, a tongue of flame blossoming the pages of sky, burning in the skull, burning in the sky night ash, burning, burning in the Taegar of memory, in the lightning of the larynx, in a throat of thunder, this flute of bone singing the wind, tongues of flame dancing in the heavens, the ash of diamonds dancing in the kaleidoscopic compass of the skull, navigating the stars of song, navigating the harmonies of the heart, a root of eyes seeing the subterranean sail of the skull, the spirit breathing in the lungs launch the light, the lungs launch the sky, flowers of fire blossoming the fruit of seeing, the dream pearls floating to the void of visions, the distance of fire speaking ash to the bones, planting the sun with kisses of wind, a heart of wind singing the words of infinity. The alphabet is the universe of language, M. Norbisi Phillips' eye of fire, listening to the abyss of sea, journeys of hearts. We are rooted to beginnings, the spirit of fire, the spirit of spirit, dancing in a dream, a breast of womb sleeping in the void, nourishing the sky, nourishing the arteries of air, this home of sky, this home of wind singing the heart to the future, these roses of fire blossoming the skull to sound of infinity's crystal air of heavens and dancing constellations, the orbit of lungs circling a womb of mirrors, a womb of windows sleeping in the furnace of time, the diamond wisdom of snakes biting their tails to the fire of sun, fire of the skull launched to the lightning of throats, dancing the void of sound, throats orbiting the thunder of stars, blazing the silence of memory, echoes of dreams dancing in prisms of the void, a labyrinth of prisms exploding the lungs to breath, the light of all lights in all directions simultaneously, the spirit of all spirits in all directions simultaneously for infinity, visions vibrating in the veins, the harmony of all harmonies inside your skull of sound, arteries attacking the air, a heart of flame burning the diamonds to ash, a tongue of fire speaking kaleidoscopic languages of air, of wind, a voice of spirits singing the wind to flight, a future of wings of fire flying the void to visions, a heart of sun singing the future to fires of remembering, blind eyes seeing the invisible, a bird's circular song circling my heart, a heart of lungs breathing the dream. Your words are the light of the wind, mother, the light of beauty, father, the light of flight, the voice of death, lighting the void of floating visions, ash, air, spirit, healing, healing, the mirrors of dream transform to looking, the key of the lung opening to flight, the mirror of death drinking the sea, the skull of memory drinks the architecture of salt, a flower remembering the perfume of flame, the schedule of kaleidoscopes singing, roots developing the path of sharks, dreaming the path of stars, stars swimming in the skull, singing with sight, a voice of visions voyaging the veins, a rose of flames, thorns of ink, eyes in the fingers seeing the future, seeing the heart, a seed pregnant with sun, a seed pregnant with seeing, this fetus of fire blossoming the future, a labyrinth of lungs breathing the eyes to sleep, a mouth of souls singing the wind, a jaguar of dreams biting my head, an eagle of air blasting my chest, a fetus of fire swimming in the void, a feather of flames floating to the visions voyaging the veins, an orbit of lungs navigating the labyrinth of dreams, the snakes of fire flying to the anus of the abyss, a whisper of lungs in the crystal wind, silence sleeps in the skull, an eye of clouds seeing puzzles, a spirit of silence singing dreams, a travelling lung sailing the wind, a map of dreams sleeping in the geography of the skull, soaked with stars, visions sleeping in the bones, voyaging the veins, sailing the arteries of birth, blossoming in the fruit of skulls, the door of voices echoing in the bones, a breast of sound drinking the heart of the sun, a thorn of echoes crumbling the ash, sleeping in the skull of silence, in the ear of spirit healing, an ear of storms, listening to the listening, listening to all, listening to the spirit speak in flames of wombs, in flames of caves co-creating the divine darkness of dream, of death's vibrating diamond, and the wind learns the shape of its fire, Camo Brathwaite, the star of diamonds vibrating the veins on a breast of visions, the shadow of death echoes the bright ash of remembering, this umbilical universe united in the blaze of song, the whispers of dreams swimming in the bones of flight, a bouquet of voices blazing the heart, a voice of dreams, hands of sound writing the bones to dream, the hawk of death visions the prism of orbits, whistles the warm milk of the sperm's dancing sound, an ovary of breasts singing the gravity of roots to the future of milk, of mothers harmonized to the memory of birth, the compass of the skull navigating the symphonies of the dream, a heart traveling the bouquet of starry fruit, seeds armored in oblivion with the eternal kiss of the spirit's flying wind, a skull of maps, a skull of puzzles, navigating. The shadow of knowledge rests my brain in the cool radiance of its orbit of thought, in the blaze of the sun's spirit of light and sky diamonds, a sky window of compasses navigating the ancient void of dream, the light spirit singing in the compass navigations of sky windows, a mirror of voices sleeping in the veins, voyaging the visions of the void, the arrows of air sleeping in the arteries, an eye of fire, a flute of fire winging north, the harmony of stars sleeping in the skull, a crystal of lungs breathing the universe, a mouth of future sounds, loving the unknowable flame of floating maps, a map of mirrors dancing in the sun, in a skull of clouds, a flute of wind singing death, a skeleton of salt floating in electric teeth foam, a breast of suns vibrating the heart to see, skull, shell of the spirit, a flute of blood singing the heart of rubies, the jewel of blood singing to the heart, a vibration of listening wind, a cloud of diamonds raining light, a face of fire drinking the sun, the distance of the heart dancing in a room of roots, the distance of death drinking the bones, the voice sails the universe of the air, the tongue pregnant with seeing, the invisible flames of visions voyaging the veins of infinity, spirits navigating the skull of sound, the flames of a silence sleeping in Imesesser's throat of diamonds, the beautiful music of naked suns drumming light into the abyss of bones, the balance of the eye of all directions sleeping in invisible poisons, transformed into the light of poetry's vibrating horn of visions, the wind's lungs massaging muscles with jewel of its invisible crystal, the sun drumming its brain of fire, the music of roots vibrating the veins of death's invisible face of wind, the perfume, the petals of remembering, a jewel of blood spilling from the rhythm of the heart in an ocean of waves, in a wind of pearls launching to the infinity of the air. Cloud, kiss me in my crystal skull of dreams, this universe of floating bones fastened to the roots of gravity, an eye of rain sleeping in the vagina of astral snakes, biting their own tails of healing poison, of remembering, the sun wisdom, the harmony of memory, the harmony of hands, the hands of fire sleeping in the bones of vibrating slaves, vibrating with anger, with the memory of dark travel, a flower of universe singing future birds of silence, of faces screaming with clouds of multiplying rain, with oceans of remembering, baptizing the memory with fire floating to ash, to a mouth of blades circling the tongue with air, the muscle of night sleeping in the bones of the abyss, walking the gravity of the roots, the silence of the sun orbiting the skull, a window of womb seeing the future, a peacock of exploded feathers, cooled in the shadows of the sun, in the crystal hand of the wind, a tongue of flame turning the pages to ash, the memory of the bones, the memory of the breath harmonized to wind, a jewel of venom transformed the visions, floating in the veins, the window of memory breathing the future through a flute of fire, a tiger of fire drumming the bones of the abyss with crystal fingers of wind, a throat of oceans drowning the sound, a throat of oceans vibrating in the waves of wind healing speech, the dimensions of space sleeping in time's lung of harmony and storms, my heart a rose of blood of sky dawns, a labyrinth of diamond, kaleidoscopes navigating the bones, the compass of wind mapping the skull of stars, a diamond of bones seeing the prism of past echoes, drumming the future's whip of wind, the flowers of secret praise, weaving the rainbow of roots of memory, whose gravity sleeps in the orbits of sun, in the blind maps of infinity's child hands of memory, the compass of death navigating the bones, a moon of mirrors sleeping in the door of the sun, a tiger in the voiced dreams talons of ash through a flight of time, an eagle of fire foams, soars in the sun, the prism of bones, the prism of sun seeing, a flute of fire singing the bones with the womb of the wind. The skull is a house of infinity. Heart drum, heart drum, heart drum, skull drum, skull drum, skull drum, 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 dum dum. Dum dum, dum dum. The jewel of fire sleeping in the skull of the sun, and every silence is a galaxy of faith. Dennis Scott, my uncle of fire singing in the sky of doves, the pearl river of sperm dancing in the stars of the heavens, the egg of infinity orbiting the skull of life, the dream spirit singing the spine to sleep, my face vibrating to future fire, the air of healing hands. This crystal is bread yet to come, Cesar Vallejo, the birth of silence, in my crystal of bone, vibrating with the thunder of death, transition to harmonies of love, the compass of infinity, navigating the skull, the bones of death drumming oblivion in the sea's waves of future ears, a breast of stars milking infinity's bones of dew, the blackbird's wings of onyx ink spreading in the abyss of air, blood, the dew of bones, blood, the jewel of life vibrating in the ears, the breath of blood, blood, the rose of infinity blossoming in the heart, the rose of blood, the petal of blood flying to the stars, blood, 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 the door of infinity open in the bird of my skull, the diamond bird of remembering, the diamond bird of my skull sleeping in stars, in the blackbird's wings of abyss flying the arteries of the void, the tongue of prayer sleeping in the bones, the dawn, the dawn, the dawn throat of rubies. I'm a Cesar, mysterious diamond of the abyss. Your prism of radiance sings the bones to ash, this pregnant fruit of pregnant remembering, of sperm and memory, strange diamond of infinity pregnant with wombs and dancing wind, this womb of fireflies to eternity's threshold of sky, a heart of comets singing the music of fire in my throat of sun, a comet of hearts blazing the night ink abyss, sailing in flame, a heart sailing in flame. Flame, waves of lungs sleeping in the energy of water, the peacock of kaleidoscopic feathers flying to the abyss of floating ears, the language of fire sleeping in the silence of the skull, the imagination soars the roots, sleeps in the heart jewel of infinity, the coral eagle of the abyss flying in pupils of sight, tears of the ocean sleeping in a star, of fire refreshing the soil with its transparent milk of memory, nourishing the moon of the skull with star sperm and seeing, the sun seeing light, the blazing flower of my heart floating to the sun with its crystal perfumes, the crystal perfume of the sun, the crystal perfumes of the sun. The crystal perfumes of the sun, sleeping in the nostrils of the grave, in the nostrils of sleeping infinities, the window of lungs breathing fire into my dreams, the mirror of the skull singing infinity, the eagle of the imagination soars the heavens with feathers of fire, my soul present with armor, present with the petals of fire flaming the void, the far diamond of cloud, the heart of infinity, sleeping on the nest of nerves naked to sea, naked to sky diamond sound, the sky of suns blazing in the skull of memory, the mirror of memory sleeping in eternity's bones, blossoming the fruit of sound, the skull nourishment of seeing, the nourishment of hearing, vibrating the ear to dream, the river of sound sleeps in nerves of memory, the memory of future maps navigating the tongue, the mirror of lungs breathing the atmosphere to ash, the voice of lungs vibrating to sky, the mirror of eyes seeing night streams of dancing ink, the window of narratives flame the skull to sound, a skull of sun sweating, the voice of infinity vibrates the travelling bones of memory, the window of memory sleeps in the lungs of the sky, cloud pearls dancing, the eagle of imagination soars to the thunder of dreams, the paper venoms burnt to ash, burned in the skull navigations of invisible maps, a fetus of fire blossoming the future wind of lungs, diving the abyss, of future pearls blazing the flute of memory to the harmony of silence, to a heart of sun, the sky of sound, the skull of sound singing the voice, the music singing in the bone, the voice thundering the visions of sound, the compass of infinity navigating the bones, the roots of memory, the veins of voyages sleeping in the lungs, breathing in the memory of sound, in the skull of sight, in the invisible maps of flight, reading I am a Cesar is sailing a diamond of memory. My memory is encircled with blood. My memory has a belt of corpses, a breast of sound, nourishing the ears with vibrating milk of universe, the waves of wind, the thunder of dreams drumming the voice to visions, this mouth of the spirit singing the thunder of dreams, the salt of remembering voicing infinity's arrow of sound, the breath of lungs navigating the atmosphere with a compass of wind, and blind stars seeing the invisible maps of becoming, A forest of lungs floating in a cloud of blind remembering, a vision of dust spiraling the snake of death, gentle poison of paper venoms, the star spiraled map of genes, keys of the naked universe, the birth of rivers singing from the veins, the spirit of sun lighting the cosmos, dark tooth of ash, thunder in the lungs of remembering, visions vanishing in the veins, a voice of visions voyaging the vagina of sun, voyaging the voice of drums vibrating the memory of bones, the shadow of the sun sleeping in my skull of sound, the birth of tongues dancing in fire, the sky sleeps in stones, the sky sleeps, an anus of diamond sprouting milk, the dew of memory, the tree of memory with roots of fire, sprouting the fruit of sky, a compass of blood blazing in the womb of the sun star of skulls, orange, juicy orb of sun and jade, the diamond of infinity, dreaming of light, visions voyaging the veins, the eye of infinity, kissing the mirror of solitude, the moving crystal of water, sleeping in the skeleton's diamond fire of milk, moon, circle of blazing milk, this crystal of pregnant water, vibrating the skeleton, dancing in the waves, a wing of breasts milking the void to flight, a feather of stars dancing light, mother of lungs, addressing death to the bones, death dancing in the lungs, word of fire dancing in the flesh of seeing, the future hands of wind breathing the lungs to sky, the future of memory singing in the dream of death, a skull of sun singing the dream to fire, the womb of pearl sound sleeping in the bones, waves in the womb whispering, the hand of wind, the hand of sky cradling the skull of thunder, spirits laughing in the feathers of birds, birds flying to the void of vibrating visions, the diamond's memory of fire singing in Kamau Brathwaite's voice of forever flame, of divine joy, in his eye of all directions home, in the unity of God's heart of love, love, love. A hand of fire dancing in the crystal breath of lungs, the body blazes a dream of blood narratives, the eagle of flame flying with feathers of light, crystal flame of lungs breathing the universe of dreams, the long crystal blaze of infinity's narrow drum, of the heart of sky, of day's arrow of sun, the eye of dream sleeping in the sun space of breath, in the long space of breath, the throat of crystal venoms blazing the nightmares to ash, a breast of sky singing, the crystal flames of air singing, an air of fire listening to the crystal infinities of flowers, perfuming the lungs' breath of floating abysses, of drum symphonies vibrating the bones of sky, the serpents of infinity sleeping in the skull sun of sky, flowers of fire blossoming in the bones of memory, the voice of focus, the laser of language, the mirror of eyes seeing infinity's feather of foam, floating to the focus of dream, of visions voyaging the veins, fire in the lungs sleeping in the wind, the feather of wind feasting on fires of sky, guiding the dream to focus, the dream of sky blossoming in the bones, in the rivers of infinity's tears, in the blind eye of mirrors dancing in the skull, in the bones of remembering, floating to abyss, floating in the ground of gravity, the subterranean sword sleeping in the soil, the subterranean sail of the skull, sprouting seeds of sky, the seed of dreams blossoming a flower of fire, the fruit of light, the eye of mirrors sleeping, blood, the pearl of the new Jerusalem planted in the soil of eyes, in ears of infinity, listening to the wind, the eye of the spirit seeing, the prism of dreams, the compass of death, sleeping in the void, blossoming in the womb of memory, in the womb of the abyss, the landscape of lungs, blossoming flowers of wind, the prism of birth singing, the prism of death singing the invisible compass of dream, a tongue of fire dancing in the void, sounding the lightning's thunder to dream, the abyss of breath, a naked breast of air sleeping in the perfume of stillness, in the fire of birth's kaleidoscopic eye, in death's solar silence, in the bones of memory drumming the void, a body of flame lighting the universe. I'm a Cesare, your pearl of flame, forever navigating the labyrinth of dream in the skies of flame, the sky pregnant with lungs of remembering, roots of fire illuminating subterranean skulls of sleeping dreams, the distance of dream drumming the bones, the radiance of the abyss sleeping in the skull of sun, the eye of infinity sleeping in the bones of memory, the launch of infinity sailing the flame, volcanoes dreaming the fire of the skull, a body of flame sleeping in the dream of the abyss, of feathers of ink, a voice of air, sleeping in storms, of the skull's flame of dream, the hands of fire sleeping, the fire sleeping in its eternal eye of prisms, of diamonds, of kaleidoscopes, of mirrors shattering in the echo of the dream, seeing the eye of fire sleep in the universe's belly of drums, of thunder dancing in the dream of the voice, the dream of fire sailing the void, the skull of stars, the bridge of bones echoing to space, the silence of my skull sleeping in the stone of memory's blind wind, the language of pearls sleeping in the imagination of the universe, the iguana of kaleidoscopes, plants, sleeping its scales of sun, the subterranean sail of the skull, sleeping in the abyss of silence, a peacock of volcanoes, of diamond feathers of sea, flying in the abyss, a throat of suns, a throat of thorns, balancing the stone of dreams in the eye of fire, the lightning of the larynx sleeping in the island of infinity, the mirrors of air sleeping in the nourishing milks of floating breasts of fire, seeing the eye of snakes, bleeding the venom of blindness, the wisdom of suns, the hands of fire scattering nightmares to the wind and sea, my ashes sleeping in air, in the crystal of dream, in the lungs of kaleidoscopes breathing the sky's pearl hands of smoke dressed, in the clouds of infinite dimensions of dream, in the sleep of remembering, in the sleep of sky, in the wind of nothing, branching of infinity fruit, blossoming an ear of universes, listening to the wind of dream, the feather of focus sleeps in the bones. Solar Flight Suite, Sailing the Astral Diamond. After reading Solar Throat Slashed by Aimé Césaire, translated by Clayton Eshelman and A. James Arnold. 1. Mother, your breast of pearls of infinite milk, nourishing the teeth of the void. 2. Father, your larynx of thunder, guiding the dream of fire, sleeping in your eyes. 3. The spirit's hands of fire, navigating the cosmic fruit of hope to the teeth of the sun. 4. A claw of water sleeps in the womb of day, in the waves vibrating foam of memory, launched on a sea of skeletons, swimming the abyss of sound. 5. This womb of stars, nourishing the flesh of the dream, sleeping in the spirit's eye of fire, drifting in the flower of excellent speeds. 6. A serpent of wings flying the dream of fire, floating through a crystal calyx of wind, an air of wind, listening to the clouds of tears, rain in the radiant roots of a skull sailing the wind, of star embryos echoing pearl fire in the abyss. 7. This belly of languages, landscapes of the wind, birthing the silence of fire in the heart of exploded tomorrows, in the heart of a storm of eyes. 8. A tongue of feathers in flight through the forests of speech, sleeping in the crystal lungs of assassinated languages. 9. A belly of dreams, a belly of breasts, sleeping in the milk of the hurricane's eye of thunder and silence. A drum of wind vibrates the bones. 10. The womb of future wind, sleeping in a throat of assassinated stars, of ancient death voids, milking the pearl of mirrors, the pearl of prisms seeding the voice with sun, the eye of silence, the eye of flames nourishing a future sky, of flying bodies, of sailing throats screaming in a flight of lunar silence. 11. A window of memories, navigating the sperm to the sound of hearts, vibrating the wind with a compass of dead fire, pregnant with remembering. 12. The womb of night's abyss of ink, sleeping in the coral pupil of seeing, of visions, of focus in space, of ash anchored to the memories, floating bones of beauty. 13. A sky of hands, searching for the compass of infinity, buried in your skull of memory, and naked fire, and tongues of poison-tipped diamonds, igniting the kaleidoscope of dreams with the wheel of sky, igniting the skull to dream. 14. A bird of suns, blinding the teeth of dogs, hungry for the diamond of sound, hungry for the seed of truth, planted in the skull of the sun, in the mirror of the eye. 15. The voice of fire sleeps in my bones of sleeping ash. Prayer fire. Prayer shining in his eyes. Kojo Leng. Written while listening to Will Alexander reading at the University of California Lunch Poem Series. 1. The prayer burning in my heart, the silence of the spirit, this burning seed of silence planted in the moon salt of the skull, the geometry of ghosts floating to God, to the gravity of ground, this air of pearls listening to the light vibrating in water of liquid wisdoms, sailing the stars of kaleidoscopic diamond fires, the language of labyrinths breathing in the lungs void of laughing hurricanes, the memory of mirrors magnetizing the sky's blossom of sun, seeing of infinity's tongue of flame, balanced on focus, balanced on the eye of the spirit, visions vanishing in the veins. 2. The sun's fire of dream, sailing the skull, journeying the bones of visions, the eyes of infinity, blossoming the fruit of seeing, the teeth of stars sucking the milk of memory, the future's blade of fire ashing, the nightmares blazing the soil of subterranean skulls, sailing, 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 sailing the seed of seeing, planted in the future eye of memory's fire of dancing dreams. Fire diamond light. My memory is encircled with blood. My memory has a belt of corpses. Aime Cesar. And the wind learns the shape of its fire. Kamau Brathwaite. The sky of fire sleeping in the soul of the skull, launching the void in the veins, the invisible launch of lungs in the labyrinth of liberty, a voice of sky breathing the window of wombs to birth, to flight, to a tongue of fire blazing the memory, sailing the spirit of dancing hearts of sleep, the tears of infinity in a diamond of water, God, the mother of wombs, sailing to creation, the tear of diamonds falling from the eyes of mothers, a breast of pearls nourishing the clouds, nourishing the dream of wombs, nourishing the body caught in the matrix of hunger and pain, the blood vibrating like wings in flight, like wings in fall, falling to earth, in death's diamond of blindness, in death's diamond of darkness, where the blood sleeps, drumming the bones with its tide of rubies, crushed to sleep, to the fire of dream, to the fire of skulls, remembering the future, screams of lungs launched to light, the bullets incinerated to ash in the eyes of fire, the ash of nightmares scattered to the wind and sea, the memory blazing with bodies of fire and vibrating blood, roses radiant in the roots, roses of blood blossoming in the heart, from a dream of bones, a dream of drums, beating, beating, beating the brain to harmony's skeleton of swords, slashing the seed of the sun, the sky of nerves, the web of truth speaking, the diamond of seeing, the spider of smoke, the ghost of gravity sleeping in the ground of mirrors, where death sleeps in the dream of the future, in the bones of memory, in the fire of hope's kaleidoscopic bird, flying to life's lung of sight, to the universe of skulls, where infinity blossoms in death's dream of ash, in the spirit's eye of fire, the shadow of the abyss harmonizing, harmonizing the harbors, the skull in its prism of night, in its spiral structure of sleep, rooted to the anchor of flight, the arrow of focus kissing the air, with tongues of silence where memory sings its hymn in flames, in the prayer of infinity's listening blade of sun. The tear sleeps in the crystal calyx of the throat, in the wound's memory of sound, the seed of infinity, blossoming, 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 the skull of sound, the skull of silence, the stars living in your heart of light, the stars living in your heart of fire, the stars living in your light of infinity's drum of visions, vibrating in the veins, voyaging the bones of beauty with milk of memory, a breast of hearts nourishing the void, the lightning lion in the larynx, leaping to the lung of the future, skull fires flow to imagination's womb of warriors, the spirit of fire biting the fire of dream, to the crystal poison of memory, dancing in the veins, dancing in the drum of sky, the sky of voices, dancing, 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 dancing the drum of death, the diamond of dream launching to space, launching to the heart of space, a heart of flaming spirits. The sun whispers to an artery of arrows flying to sun, a vagina of crystal sky, of crystal moonfires foaming from the teeth of memory's future cloud of floating, this constellation of eyes thundering the dream fire, satellites sailing in the skin, this eye of mirrors sleeping, the kaleidoscope of infinity, prism, drum beat the bones, drum beat the heart harmony of roads paved with sky, the window of lungs breathing the storm of suns, questioning the void's calyx of vanishing vaginas, visions voyaging the veins, the wind of lung flying to the astral diamond of the depths, compasses of stars, tracking the tears of mothers crying for their sons' murdered blood, blossoming in the vibration of death's drums, sleeping in the bones of sky clouds, tears that contain the information of dreams, tears that blast pain from the rocks, tears dressed in the diamonds of silence, tears birthing an ocean of oblivions, mass of ash, asking, why to God, God answering, Spirit, 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 I love you, I love you, I love you, my son, I love you. These waves of tears from the source, from the hearts of sky, flying the sleep of dreams, a breast of birds flying to the eyelids' cave of storms, to the mouth of transformed blood, the memory of sky stored in my divine hand of light, this womb of silence sleeping in the bones of the wind's lungs of freedom flames, a breast of pearls of nourishing milk, the space of fruit floating on the wheel of fire, a voice of airs listening to the void of thunder, a breast of stars nourishing the universe, a petal of wisdom blossoming a universe, the fruit of fire feeding the void, A petal of wind floating the perfume of sound, the wings of blindness flying to sight, a skull of foam sounding the waves, a sky pregnant with rain in the roots, the compass of co-creation, navigating the abyss for light, future light singing to death, a spine of sun singing, the pregnant milk of pearls, a breast of stars flying to the void where visions vanish, where visions voyage of veins, the journey of bones communicating future fire, future spirits communicating, kaleidoscopes of courage, tears of ink where the abyss sleeps, tears of blood where the womb nourishes the window of prisms, of eyes of fire, seeing all, seeing the harmony, the serpent of fire, drinking the poison of wisdom from the healing flowers of fangs blossoming in the brain's prism of sound. Harmonized to memory, harmonized to sky, the wings of sight singing in flight, my womb of memory floating in my chest of sun, my chest of birth, my chest of pain, my chest of sky, listening to the stories of stars, navigating the void of the skull's road of future petals, perfuming the wind, the tongue's flame of speech, these roots of words, radiant in the wombs of mothers, praying for the dreams of their children to blossom universes, this heart of jewels shared to hands, this diamond of night, the color of oil, blossoming abysses in the pupils of dream, in the dream of bones burned to ash of nightmare, scattered to the wind and sea, the spirit of dreams, the eye of fire blossoming hands of sun, the spirit of dreams, flames, the skull soaked with stars, a bird of fire flying in the mouth of the sun, this umbilical universe diving in the bones, the dances, the voice of fire singing, fire, 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 floating in the dream space of the skull, this eye of wind, seeing the blood dew of murdered languages, of assassinated throats, this tongue of fire floating in space, speaking the geometry of stars, the compass of dreams mapping infinity's blind length of tomorrow voids, a tear of diamonds of kaleidoscopic courage in all directions, singing the air with healing water, of water diamonds of mother's tears, flowing to the root of gravity, flowing to the finger's touch of crystal venom, flowing to the sea of tears, where unity finds its liquid wisdom of wind eyes listening to tears falling in a sea of lungs, tears falling in the puzzle matrix of hunger, tears savagely falling in the maps of blasted skulls. Lord, provide the compass for our navigations, for our deaths planted in the sun's mouth of fire, seeing, seeing, seeing all, this eye of tongue speaking to the future wind, a mirror of eyes seeing all, the circle complete and rising, a labyrinth of eyes seeing, the crystal venom of the voice, the blood dew of memory vibrating, singing a kaleidoscope of water through the skull, the compass of tomorrow's space, a wind, a tongue of wind, flying through veins, my wind of freedom, flying the cosmos, the imagination, radiating, exploding suns of future seeing, in a bouquet of peacock feathers, flaming with sea, with the tears of assassinated dreams, floating to the music of ash, floating to the music of memory, vibrating in the blood, vibrating in the visions, voyaging the veins, the stars of the spirit, planted in my skull of memory, the dance of death, choreographed in the bones, the stars sleeping in the sun, the bird of fire flying in the throat of dawn, singing songs, a skeleton of songs dreaming this prayer of universes, singing silence in the bones, singing silence in the skull, tears of murdered blood, tears of assassinated crystal, tears of kaleidoscopic crystal, drunk with sea, drunk with visions of future fire, the eye, eternity, foaming the diamond of the sea, the memory sleeps in the mouth of sound, the distance of voices, the distance of stars, floating in the skull of memory, the fire singing my skull, this rose of muscle and bone, the eye of fire, journey the void, a voice of lungs screaming to the void of diamond absence, a skull of serpents, bleeding wisdom in the void from diamond fires, the rose of blood vibrating in the heart drum of sky, the eye of fire blossoming the universe of womb sleeping in the diamond fire of sperm, the mirror of eyes seeing the future sun, blazing the memory of creation, birthing the sound of harmony's death, flying to the abyss of stars, burning in the soul, in the book of the skull, in the book of the blood with its infinite pages, the wind navigating infinity, the eye of infinity navigating the abyss, the star of doves, the star of breasts, navigating the future with wings of fire, with lungs pregnant with seeing, floating from the weather of skull, from the hurricane of reason to the star of faith, breathing, breathing a cloud of lungs, breathing the nightmares to ash, the window of infinity, blossoming the voice of wings, flaming the pregnant void, pregnant with remembering, the memory singing, the petals pregnant with the fire of ancient blood, this orbit of wings flying to the cosmos, cranium of stars, a breast of suns, flaming the night with its fire milk, a vision of diamonds seeding the skull with light, a voice of sky blessing the stars with sight, a heart of fire floating to the cosmos, pregnant with wind, sailing solar voids, sailing skull fires of memory, sailing star wombs, sailing the drum of the blood speaking the memory of ancient genes, the blood sailing the streets, the blood flying in the gravity of roots, the blood screaming in the air of infinity's birth, the blood flooding the eyes with future seeing, the blood that contains the code of sky, the blood, the ancient blood, the innocent blood dreaming of pearls of future bread, the gangster blood hungry with the desperation of poverty's matrix of murder, a jar of guns exploded to ash, the blood, the blood sailing silence, the silence sings, launched to nothing, launched to eternity's egg of fire, launched to the solar voids of blazing blood, the blood vibrating in the air of sky, the blood listening to the solar dynamite of fangs holding the poison of memory that heals a dream to a vibrating pearl of tears, a sea of tears, flooding the land with its salt matrix of waves, winging north of the future, Ilya Kaminsky, a star of letters singing, a skull south of the womb, searching for the fire of seeing, the cosmic diamond of abyss wombs, singing in a diamond of tears, of mother's pain of water, a heart harmonizing the drum of death's sun, the crystals of sight, shattering the mirror of eyes to ancient seeing, dreaming the universe to a fruition of tongues sleeping in the sun's skull of fire, speaking truth to the flying swords of dream, the blood, vibrating on the shore of distant stars. The knives are ash, the knives are ash, the knives are ash, the knives are forever ash. The sun sleeps in its fire of dream, in its fire of seeing naked with flame. The diamond of death dreams, the diamond of death flies to a future sun, where sleep swarms the skull with its spiral of sky, with its invisible hands of wind, launching the fire diamond flight. Diamond breath abyss. I shall sing my words when my lips are burned with flames. Khalil Gibran. These throats of sky, blossoming a universe of sound. The belly of the wind, pregnant with sound. This diamond of light, singing in my throat of sun. The serpent of balance and focus, sleeping in solar visions of wisdom. the healing abyss of ink, clawing the night with seeing. This eagle of light, soaring above the cloud of memory, where the sun sings a rose of crystal thorns into the throat of dawn, a tongue of storms, a tongue of voices, a tongue of wind whispering to the void, a mirror of eyes sleeping in the bird of silence, setting fire to the void with its feathers of flame, with its feathers of dawn tipped with the sun of memory, the eternal blossom of fire, where faith sings to its star of infinite seeing, the breast of infinity, nourishing the skull of hands, navigating abysses of compasses, a serpent of throats screaming the wind's dancing tongue of lies, incinerated in the spirit's fire, a skull of bread bathed in foam, in the crystal instructions of memory's fast hands of kaleidoscopic speed, standing completely still is the fastest you can go, the birth of air from the womb of infinity, the bread of water singing in the lungs, a voice of lungs harmonizing the hurricane of rivers flowing to the soul's fire of blazing ash, blazing wind, singing the skull's genesis of grass, the key of infinity, unlocking every crystal vagina of sound, of floating wombs of knowledge, the crystal poison of memory, the heart of flame singing in my throat, the voice of fire blossoming in the pregnant dreams of the future, the flower of focus flaming, this voice of visions voyaging the vertebrae through a calyx of diamond perfume bursting in lungs of tropical fire, the seed of visions flying to the skull of memory, the star of the skull seeing the future sound of memory, the feather of focus in the flight of flame, the diamond of fire seeing light, a chest of roots harmonizing the journey to seeing, the visions voyaging the veins, skulls singing in the Taegar sun of dancing larynxes singing the future, the feather of abyss blossoming, souls from the fire mouth of the cosmic jaguar, teeth of seeing from the belly of wind serpents, sleeping in the ancient poison of memory, from the diamond of truth, blazing the sea of the skull, this moon of lungs breathing the future, the orbit of lungs dancing in the fire of eternity's ear of listening blades, the anchor of heaven rooted in the gravity of bones, orbiting the skull of seeing, the sky pregnant with seeing, this hurricane of seeing, visions vanishing in the veins, this heart of lungs orbiting, stars sailing the skull, stars sailing the solar skull of imagination's flight of winged jaguars jetting to space, the diamond of the abyss blazing the memory to stars, the serpent of knowledge flaming its wisdom in the sky of forever seeing, navigating the cosmos with the poison of seeing, the healing of hearing, launched to infinity's web of blades, to infinity's blade of dreams, to infinity's lung of remembering breath, cloud codes of dancing blood blossoming in the breast, commanding the launch of its astral milk to sky, to a death of dreams, dreaming the dream, the tear of memory, nourishing the crystal void of arteries, vibrating the visions of birds astral sailing, the song of solar throats, sleeping in space's vagina of womb flight, the voice of the wind sleeping in my neck of solar serpents, this compass of light navigating the memory to sight, my prayer, silence before the spirit, sailing my skull to dream, dreaming the vibration of my bones in an abyss of diamonds, the mouth of memory speaking to the void of the voice of the void, visions voyaging the veins, the electric teeth of sky foaming the clouds, the sea of spirits floating to the memory of crystal poisons of diamond water, the lightning teeth shocking the bite of salt, the birth of sky floating from a womb of stars, the serpent skull sleeping in the foam of memory, the swarm of eyes flying to infinity's umbilical dream of unity, Thunder sails, exploding the diamond skull of seeing, mirrors of eyes listening to the void, an ear of infinity sailing, the throat, a voice of sky sleeping in the blazing lung of dawn sky of flying blood, the spirit tiger playing his flute of memory's ear, his flying flute of the wind, this heart of sky, sleeping in the clouds, veins of memory's magnet of drums, blazing the blood to the fire of dancing dreams. The serpent of fire, blazing the memory with its poison of wisdom, with its labyrinth of healing. The visions are scales vanishing, the belly of dreams floating to cloud, pregnant with sky milk, with the moon of lungs flying in the wind, an eye of birds flying, a feather of fires, wings singing, the wind to dream, a boat of breasts milking the fire to the horizon, the crystal wing of diamond breasts flaming in the sky of future flight of kaleidoscopic hearts, floating on waves of naked courage, of breasts swinging to sky in spaceships of cloud, this heart of voices navigating the void of memory, sleeping in the radiance of silence's tongue, this heart of dreams flying at the speed of dead visions, birth to light, the roots of sky where our skulls sing the future, where our skulls sing the future, where our skulls sing the future, to the light of sky song, spirits harmonized in the belly of creation, the belly of the whale, the ship of memories, transporting dreams to the abyss of the future, across the sea of bones, in the belly of the spirit's flight of dreams, the fruit of my heart, blossoming sound, spiriting the spirit, harmonizing the forces of the spirit to the astral light of seeing, the compass for navigating the unknown, the flower of the heart, blossoming a sun of galloping fire, vibrating in a skull of sky, in a mirror of infinity, sleeping in the eye of fire, the belly of snakes seeing with eyes of wisdom through the sun of eternal fire, drinking the poison of knowledge through a fang of joy, sleeping in the boat of memory, where bones drum the abyss of the sea, the sound of infinity launched in the waves of remembering, the heart's dance of ancient sing, breathed in the belly of the spirit. Come, eternal traveler, see home in the womb of divine voices, singing the wind to dream, a sky of blood of floating rubies sleeping in the rain of clouds, this journey of circles of fire, a vagina of suns blossoming the womb of cosmos, traveler of the unknown, sleep in my skull of sky, the abyss of the gun growing roots, the soil of memory, the eye of dream, harmonizing the voice to a tongue of memory, this word of wings flying to the cloud of memory, the prism of the spirit seeing the eye of fire, the prayer of sky, harmonizing the cosmos of stars, birth from the womb of infinity, from each grain of sand a universe develops, floats to my future of sky, to my future of sun, to my future of rare abysses floating in the storm of the skull's ancient memory of diamond poison, a diamond anus shitting a sun, laughing the face of the spirit blazing memory, a sky of compasses dancing in my brain, of fireworks and naked blood, sleeping in the memory of ancient mathematics, screaming the harmony of space to a skull of seeing, the air listening to labyrinths of skeletons, dream the salt of their bones to memory and wisdom, drummed in the abyss of wombs, the sweet tongue of fire, assassinating the air with sky, with the honey of remembering, the death of tears, the tears of death, diamonds of floating cloud born from the radiant rain, from the eyes of memory launching to sea, ashes scattered to the wind of flight, each particle a blackbird inking the abyss with night, the birth of drums, pregnant with death, this heart of earth sleeping in shadow, in the radiant roots of rain, a diamond fire, firing the abyss with its ancient memory of sun. I am a Cesar, astral diamond of flying stars, floating in the lightning of imagination, flying, flying, flying sight of tropical volcano fires of cosmic seeing. Come out Brathwaite, roots of the sound of ancestral fire, spiraling the flute of memory, spiraling the flute of fire in the all directions of your light sailing. Will Alexander, your electricity swimming in the hands of sailing ancient memory from the future scripts of volcanic explosion. Arthur Rimbaud, star of future seeing, launched on a wind of diamonds, the jaguar eye of the moon, sleeping in the abyss of night, the sleeping breeze of memory, launching to the dream of foam, the void of sky, the voice of light flying on the wind of fire diamonds seeing, the jaguar sun sleeping in the sky of cloud blossoms, the lungs of the breath dreaming the wind, astral diamond spirits, fire hearts sailing the dream, feathers focusing the fire of seeing, this eye of fire, this eye of the spirit blossoming the future on wings of angry air, the heart of infinite air, a spine of diamonds sleeping in the sun's belly of flames, the pearl of seeing flying to the memory of infinity's blade of sky, the night of floating abyss, the moon with her jar of cosmic milk singing my bones to the drum of death, the drum of sleep where the skull dives to dream, the dream of seeing the all directions, the snake of infinity harmonizing the knowledge of wisdom, the rainbow dagger of dream, the poison of seeing cleansed in the tears of sleep, the tears of sky, the tears of infinity, the spirit of seeing. The snake of sky launched to the lung of first breath, the healing wing of beauty questions the dark with its infinite hand, spirit lung fires breathing the future, butterfly, yellow lightning on the wind of flying sun, this throat of flames flying the universe on thunder, a flute of fire launching the heart of hearts to space, the breath of life singing the womb of the wind to the flight of fire, roses radiant in the roots, the compass of infinity navigating the void, navigating the future, the swan sings its song of snow, the root drums its map of dreams onto my skull of sight, the pupil of ink arrowing the abyss with his tongue of night, the compass of knowing, navigating the bones of gravity's death in the roots, future floating, diamond breath on the wind, hand of sky, sleep in my womb of future song, pupil of abyss, navigate the journey through night, to the breath of birth, to the dance of sun. Death, the diamond of dream, and the wind learns the shape of its fire. Come out, Brathwaite. It is your voice alight with echo, with the birth of sound. Come out, Brathwaite. My thoughts sealed in the spirit's fire of dancing wombs, seeds pregnant with the memory of blossoming, wombs of fire nourishing on the gentle bread of courage and wind. The infinite sun of my tongue, lashing the waves of memory, this voice of fire singing the air of journeys in the belly of the brain, the spirit of the wind flaming the heart sky, the sky of hearts, the sky of seas, of clouds crystallizing infinity's diamond of fertile memory. The orbit of memory drums death in the bones, the drum of the waves foaming the skull to sound, a hummingbird of hearts blazing the distance, of flowers of fire, the honey of forever, the spiky gravity of the Hammond's tree, this kaleidoscope of dream fire orbiting my skull of sight, the kaleidoscope of dream fire lighting the skull of seeds where prayer sleeps in the silence of skin, this kaleidoscope of green fire dreams the lungs, breathes the lungs to future songs of blazing beauty, the face of the sea with its infinite waves of stars, singing the bones to womb abyss of night's patient ink of words, flying to the air of dreams, a voice of eyes, seeing the visions of future storms, blazing the brain with memory, and kaleidoscopes of lungs blossoming sky, this womb of breath blossoming a lung of sight, a kaleidoscope of dreams, a kaleidoscope of songs, singing the future with memory's seed of seeing, this compass of flight navigating the future with a storm of eyes, with a wind of bright imaginings floating to the heart's language of dream, of forever flight, the boat of memory dancing in the bones of the night, the sky singing our bones to sleep, this womb of fire, birthing skulls of sound, this crystal of seeing sounding the cochlea, visioning the cochlea's sight, the corneas of sound, sight of fire, the fire of the drum harmonizing the bones, to dreams, drum of sky, this heart of fire, this blazing infinity of words, navigating the hearts of future memory, a diamond heart of forever venom, a breast of suns, of spiraling stars blessed with milk, the magnet of nourishment, the gravity in the bones, diamond tongue speaking the volcano storms of fire, speaking the heart of fire, to the harmony of heaven, the silence of our song, sleeping in the skull. I am a Cesar, your voice of fire sleeps in my bones, your mouth of abyss launching a tongue of fire into the future of infinity, taking flight in the tongue of God, in the eye of fire that navigates the eye of God. The womb of infinity, on fire in my hand of dreams, the divine kaleidoscope of the skull blazing the memory with cosmos, this compass of voices navigating the labyrinth of imagination's abyss of sky, in a void of visions voyaging the veins, to the heart's bright flame of pearls, your eye of sky, the language of milk that nourishes the lungs, laser of breathing, the focus of a feather, singing the universe to flight, the kaleidoscope of voices shouting, the skull to dream sleep of death. Mother, your pearls of wisdom, singing my throat, soaking my skull with light for seeing, the star of songs blazing the spine with stories of seeing, stories of sky where the spider navigates its web of remembering, guiding the dream, this dream of diamonds, this voice of diamond blazing the memory to the fire of the future, the wind of death birthing the sky of the skull, mother of fire, your hand setting my brain to dream, the silence of the skull singing its naked language of death, the night naked with abyss, sleeping in the darkness of fire, my heart naked in the abyss of your words, in the distance blazing light of your birth of stellar sounds, the distance of your sun, the fire roaring in the jaw of memory's blaze, my heart floating on a cosmos of death, a cosmos of sound, a cosmos of milk of flying stars, your future of sky sleeping in my lungs of birth, the Taegar in my blood blazes the dream to sight, to life, vibrating the drum of death, vibrating my heart of fire, the dizzying honey of your body of dreams, the bird of your voice flies my throat of sun to its flight of dreams, the infinite river of your heart flows in the veins of sound in the heart of memory, the bird of this book winging across the sea of hearts, the light of language like a diamond on fire in the kaleidoscope of dream, the bird of my soul flies to the wing of your heart, blazing in the distance of memory, the tiger of memory, crawling my neck to the abyss of sound, the flying wind of my memory blazes the sound of distance, your heart dancing the cosmos of your cloud skull, the labyrinth of sky born in my lungs, the heart is the drum of death, flying the waves of the sea, the waves of sound, the waves of blood breathing in the nostrils of the imagination's pearl of dreams, the space of dancing prisms, sleeping in the sound of my skull of cloud, my bones launched in a flame of remembering, the flute of the air harmonizing my nostrils to the sound of breath, the sound of memory, sleeping in the skull of dream. In the landscape of death's bright dawn of abyss, in death's launch of diamonds, in the sky of the future, the door of heaven opening its petals in our skulls of dream, the vision sealed in the distance of the future, open in the skull of tomorrow's dream door of memory, sleeping in the sky of stones, floating to oblivion, floating to the abyss of clouds, the sunset of hands launching the feather of sight, the blade of focus slicing my throat of stars, the voice of the wind lighting my larynx of lightning, the diamond of memory blazing in sleep's nocturnal prism of suns, this room of fire floating to the infinity of space, flying to the abyss of night sky of ink, the sun's dazzling flight of fire, diamond of prisms singing the brain to seeing, the universe of sound filling lungs with sky, with memory of shouts whispering to the bones, the wind of hands speaking to the throat of stars, singing to my feet of journey, the bread of fire and wind, nourishing our death to dream. Your heart travels my heart in spirals of prismatic joy, journeying the sky with wings of light, blasting the future with sight, the prism of fire igniting my language with the wings of ghosts flying to God, the constellation of my cranium colliding with creating in the crystal of sky, my hands diamond of sky, singing fire to the sun, a womb of fire igniting the prism of language, my ashes are silent petals of abyss, an eagle of wind flies the cosmos of your brain, setting fire to language. A womb of fire ignites my ears to listening, a womb of ears listening to the wind, a voice of visions floating from my eyes, memories swimming the blood of Joy Harjo's sky, a crystal floating wing navigating the cosmos of sound, navigating by your mother's voice of love, singing from your father's larynx of fire. Joy Harjo, voice of sky songs floating in the womb of space fire, my heart a womb of fire, drumming death to the bones, the bird of fire sleeping in my bones, the solar song of my lungs, breathing the universe's drunken flame, a fire in the blood, drumming death to the heart, a sun sweating in the skull of sky, death dreaming in the bones to the lungs of sound, the sky of lungs breathing the stars to flight, the emerald blades of grass breathing their green lungs of life, the heart of spirits sleeping in the sun spirit sleeping her eye of fire, her womb of fire, her seeing of fire, 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 fire. A cloud of skulls floating from their diamond salt of lungs of sky, breathing the jewel abyss of ink, singing his pupils to universes of sound, of umbilical unity, spirit narrative singing the skull, this river of sky singing to my bones of sun, my bones of fire lighting the way to ash and harmony, my life of lungs singing to sky, singing to the skull of sound, the drum is death, dum. Dum, dum, the seed of diamond seen floating through a skull of fire, of naked flame, the islands of my hands blazing the memory with sky, with the drum of fingers forming a star void of dancing ink, my skull of seas, my skull of boats, my skull of suns, launching the divine, dream of death, dancing in the bones of memory's future sky of diamond clouds, my song of fire floats to the moon's breast of abyss, to the sun's forehead of dreams, of blazing sky lungs, a cloud of lungs, breathing the song to future flight, to future roots of memory, the mother's womb of imagination's blade of drums, of diamond water, death sleeps, death dreams of future song launched to light, the diamond of language blazes the eye to seeing, language, the light of the spirit, blazing the memory to seeing to the launch of infinity's sky of fire, this abyss drinking my bones to light, a mirror of flames, a prism of flames, fire, 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 spirit guiding the journey of drums, sleeping in the bones of dream, in the sky of airs, listening to the future, in the vibrations of sound, beating in the hearts of stars, the hearts of sky. My mouth breathes a cloud of serpents, biting their tails to the healing poison of future seeing, the rainbow kaleidoscope, drinking the breast of rain, orbiting a body of fine flesh on fire, float, fly, drum death to the bones, scattered as ash to the wind and sea, the sky pregnant with spirits, spirits pregnant with wind and listening, a tongue of fire sleeping in the bones of dream, this mirror of flame singing in my skull of sound, this eye of heart singing our skulls to dream, in the dancing prisms of fire, my skull sings silence, my eyes of crystal speaking to the clouds of tears, burning the shadow, the sun, the abyss of starry darkness, blazing the memory with blade of distant drums of death, speaking to my tongue of bones, my voice of fire, dancing in the wings of the hummingbird's vibrating flight, in the silence of blood's flight to dream, eyes seeing the sky of future thought, fast as lightning, fast as spirit, this breast of sun, nourishing my teeth to dream, to pearl, this calyx of hallelujahs, floating to the sun's feather of focus, this voice of visions of lasers, balancing the womb of dreams with mother star abysses, my mouth of flying sperm seeding wombs with memory of pregnant futures and seeing a fetus of fire flying the cosmos in a dancing wing of death. Hummingbird, your throat of rubies vibrating the air of fire dawns, your wings of sea singing the blood with waves of flight sailing the fire of lungs, flowers of fire blossoming from the eyes of dancing kaleidoscopes, sleeping in the gravity of bones, the feather of lightning floating to a sky of seers. Death is a diamond of dream, a breast of stars nourishing the Milky Way, this tongue of fire dancing in the cosmos, creating the language of seeing, the language of diamonds prismatic in the skull, where death drums the heart with waves of blood, the womb of light birthing the sun, the eyes of visions nourishing the void with dancing fires from kaleidoscopes of seeing, the cosmos of the eyes nourishing abyss, the rainbow diamond of seeing, flying through a heart of fire, navigating the dream of death's voice of sky. I'm a sister, your bright eye of seeing, crystallizing a vortex of charismatic voices, a venom of crystal cloud, vibrating the bones abyss of sound, a bright eye of fire, sleeping in the compass of the dream, in the feather of focus, drumming the heart with its incandescent flight of skulls, soaked with sun, this womb of forever, in flight in the honey of the skull sound of fire, dreaming the calyx of imagination's invisible drums of air, blood in the air, swimming death's infinite sea of drums, death's infinite head of storms, hurricane tongues of silence, the birth of speech, sailing the bones drum of night, of abyss of light. The fire of joy jumps from my throat of sun, screaming the future to sky, the sky to future, the roots of journeys flying forward, a tongue launched on a journey of fire, a joy diamond on fire, vibrating my heart to dream, a pearl of saliva floating to clouds of dancing sperm, the diamond of truth, blazing my skull with thoughts of sky, writing the diamond of knowledge, vibrating my skull with sound and seeing, the language of memory, sailing the foam of thought, a vagina of jets sleeping in the direction of suns, the womb of memory, mothering my sky of dreams, universes of urine, seas of shit, incinerated to ash, to particles of transparent light, death dreams a day, flowers of fire blooming my skull to sight, the diamond kaleidoscope of dreams sleeping, the feather of focus, the feather of infinite suns, my skull sailing the sun, tears of diamonds traveling the cosmos, eyes of fire seeing the future fly on wings of skulls, wings of future flight, eyes radiating tomorrow's breast of visions, my throat pregnant with love, with a tongue of seeing fire, sleeping in the horizon of dreams, in the horizon of the skull's drum of visions, in the skull's drum of death, blossoming the cosmos of circular sound, the bridge of infinity's hands, launching my heart of love in a prism of joy, in a night of abysses, harmonized to the sun's arrow of fire, the sun's circle of flowers, flying in the day's perfume of memory, the tear of prisms, nourishing the rivers of sound, of roots of fire, the storm of the sea, caught in the salt of my skin, in my face of wind, navigating the airports of the arteries, fingers of stars nourishing the void with breasts of memory and milk, imagination ship of dreams, flying my spine of sun, your air of dreams, your air of diamonds, your air of sleep, spiriting the dance of hands in the eternal kiss of fire's lungs of sky, every mic, the spirit of the mother vibrating my bones, every camera, an abyss blossoming sound, my voice of lungs flowing from joy, from the spirit of birth. The diamond of joy prisms my skull with seeing. A tiger of fire sleeps in my veins of lightning. A heart of love sleeps in my skull of dreams, naked in the sky of eternity, naked in the tears of stars, drunk in memory's fire of wind. Your heart of joy blazes the sky of bones, the roses blossoming in thoughts of sun. Every word a universe blossoming sound of God's divine fire. Each letter a spirit of seeing, spiriting the future of fire. Belize, country of the spirit, there is a joy that radiates in your bones of fire, in your skull of seeing, in your throat of sound, the joy of eternal hearts blossoming the future fire of memories, creative hands, the joy of spirits, the diamond of seeing, share it with all, the eyes of sky dancing in the sailing skulls of dream, diamond eagle flight, breathing the fingers of dream in a prism of lungs, dying in the sun, death dreams a day in diamonds, a claw, a feather, a wing, flight, the spirit of the father floating to my skull, the fire in the roots sleeping in my bones of bread, eat.